Hello everyone, Fifi and Sam here for another Midweek Musings. How's it going your end?
Pretty much the same as it has been for the
Recurring
last.
theme, isn't it, for us?
There is. I think we've done it to death as well. I'm just
Sorry everyone.
stressed and personal stuff, and yeah, just doing the whole trying to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
That's all we
It's
can do, isn't it?
exactly that.
Can
How about
do.
you?
I'm good. I'm very tired. As I was saying to you earlier, I did a mammoth workout in the gym yesterday because I had a week where I just felt really a bit blur and I wasn't really doing much. And then I just felt really, yes, like really into it. And I'm paying for it now, so I do feel really tired. But it's in a quite nice kind of I've accomplished something way. So
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm still
yeah,
doing my swimming and my cycling and stuff, and
yes,
trying to
it all
yeah make progress
helps.
that way.
Yeah, it
But
does
yeah,
help.
the tiredness is
Yeah,
there.
definitely
Um,
feel it.
And you had quite a busy weekend as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I was at the Tory Party Conference
How
in
was that?
Birmingham, so just down the road from me. Um, yeah, I met up with Louise from Save Our Rights. They were all different groups from, all different arenas, like with campaign groups and things. But we were there to raise awareness of obviously the bills going through, the 10 bills that we've been talking about quite a lot recently, and the cost of living crisis, which is what we were trying to sort of address with the MPs, is that we were right at the front entrance, so all the MPs were passing by. Interesting experience, as I said in my lives on the day. It's quite sobering to actually be face to face with these people who are making all these decisions, and they're supposedly there for our benefit. They're there to serve us, the great
Oh,
unwashed. And
well, the evidence is just they're doing absolutely anything but.
God, they, on the whole, just very removed, detached, did not want to know, really looking down their noses. One of the most depressing things was seeing all the young Tories going in. And like they're really probably like 18, 20, they look like babies, but with that same look of entitlement, very rude, wouldn't even look at you, as this just kind of disdainful looks. And just that epitome of the Tory, the young Tory kind of.
So there's hope for the future with the upcoming leaders, then, yeah.
It's yeah, it just, again, I don't have any faith in politics. I've said that over and over, and I don't think it's the answer to anything. I think while we absolutely have to register our disapproval and make things clear that we're not going along with things, in the end it's not going to be government suddenly coming on our sides, because that's
Yeah,
not what
yeah, I
they're
don't
there
really
for. But
know.
we do still have influence, the public. It might not seem like it, but we do, when we're um campaigning and just getting that public awareness of things. It does, we do hold sway because we are the people. We do far outnumber them, and should we choose to civilly disobey, then there's not much they can do about things. So while that's obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have been there, if there was no point at all. But it's very, it just brings it home to you again. And the thing is, like, you will have lower down, of course there are people that care. There will be Tory
Yeah.
MPs that do actually care. Their hands are tied. So it's not like every single person is is a wrong one. And you know, it's on for Labour, for any other political group, you know, you're going to have people that actually believe in the party, you know, but none of them are what they used to be anyway. But it was an experience to be in close contact with these people that, you know, I said in my life, when you hear the interview, oh, you know, that all the rhetoric and
they know how to say all the right
they
things and
do, but
sell
then
it,
when you're
but
actually face to face with them, they're like, oh, they don't want to know. They don't want to know. They're in a very rarefied atmosphere. And I think people have to be wary that now everything's flipped on its head. So there seems to be a notion that, probably more in the States, to be honest, that the conservative or the right wing, such as it is the way to go. Over here, having, you know, I've already, you know, made my minds up about these parties anyway, but actually being in the vicinity and seeing it for yourself, and this absolute, you know, it's a cost of living crisis. This is affecting everyone, not just in our country. It's across the world. This is the biggest thing that they could be kind of focusing on. And you know, as soon as they saw the leaflets, there's this kind of brick wall. They're shuffling to get past you.
I mean, I think many of us are sort of, you know, we've come to a very similar conclusion about our political system and the people that, you know, claim to be, you know, standing for us and working for us and all of that. You know, you've only got to look at the expense accounts. You know, for me, it's just, you know, when you look at some of these MPs spending hundreds of thousands into the millions across a year, and then telling us that, you know, we've got to be cold and hungry this winter because there isn't any money. I'm sorry, we're paying for your second and third homes. We're paying to heat. That to me kind of says it all. But did you I mean, obviously that, you know, there was a lot of public around. Did you find that you know, people were kind of more receptive to your message?
Way more. They were grabbing the leaflets. They wanted to hear about the bills, because obviously most people haven't even heard about them. So people wanted to engage. They were totally different vibe from the passers-by on the whole, which is good news, because that's what, you know, that's us, that's the people. So it did feel very positive, you know, and that's the thing. It's when you're doing these things, the outreach and things like that, if you're coming from a place of you're not coming from that fearful space with, oh, we've got to tell the people, we've got, you know, that panic. It's just you're doing it out of service and you're engaging with people, and you're not you're not doing it in that kind of frame of mind. But my God, if we don't tell people, we're doomed. That's not, you know, we've talked about endlessly about
the energy behind and intention behind the action.
That's it. I just was compelled to go. I don't get into that whole I should anymore about things like this. I think it's because that's when you can get drained, and I think that's when you see a lot of people burnt out. They feel they should be on the streets every day, or, you know, every time there's something going. Great, if you've got the energy and you've got that burning passion and the motivation, inspiration, it's 100% what you should be doing. If you're doing something out of I should, and oh God, you know, it's so terrible, I need, people do actually pick up on that energy,
feel that,
and you have a crap day, you know. It's if you just go completely open-hearted, of service, we're letting these people know, and you have a
and I think that's the good thing. I mean, with the bills and the cost of living and all of those kind of issues, actually, it's, you know, there's no kind of misinformation or conspiracy theorist labels being kind of chucked at you, because this is all observable. You know, it's all very much, you know, this is actually happening. You know, our rights and our freedoms are being stripped away bit by bit. no one's telling you, because if they told you, you would want to do something about it. I mean, I've had people, someone very close to me, actually, I spoke to them about it, and they said, well, it's obviously nothing to worry about. If it was something to worry about, then the media would tell us.
Oh.
And I just, it's sort of at that point, you're just kind of like, do you really? And then I tried to explain, who and how the media is run. And at which point there was the argument of, no, journalists are out there to provide us with the information that we need.
Oh,
And,
wow.
at that point, you just kind of think, I'm wasting my breath. Like, I just, yeah, this idea that, all this stuff that's going on, that if it was something to worry about, that you'd be informed about it. And it really worries me that a lot of people seem to feel that way, that actually, if there was something to worry about, we'd be told. And I think
I
that's
mean,
really
the
not
thing
how it
is,
works.
I think at a certain point, though, it becomes undeniable. The further we get down the line with all of this, the more the face of evil is revealed. It cannot not be, because of
Yeah,
what the agenda is, what the goal is, what the motivation behind it is. At some point, it has to be fully out there. It has to, because the more and more people get stomped on,
yeah,
lesser and lesser and lesser reasons, the more restricted and suffocated, and the more nonsense, the censorship, the level of indoctrination, for them to actually achieve what they want to achieve, it got to be so severe that really only the utterly hopeless, the beyond,
yeah.
will have no.
Well, the other, I mean, I was, prior to the last few months, I was someone that did, a lot of outreach, sort of more, formalized, actual
Mm,
kind of, with tables and leaflets and that kind of stuff. And I have kind of taken a little bit of a back step because of
mm,
where I am at the moment.
yeah,
And as you say, it is
sometimes
about
you
that
have
energy.
to.
And but it's still something that I try to kind of factor into my daily life,
Yeah.
chats with shopkeepers, random, not, straight, meh, meh, meh,
Mm,
but just try and, you know, and a lot of people I do talk about seem almost, they're aware of certain things, but they do still seem almost resigned to,
yeah.
well, that's the way it's going, that's the way the world is, and we've just got to move with the times. And I kind of, it really is like society and individuals have completely lost this entire sense of self and their
Yeah.
own power, and their own, how much we matter. We are the people,
Yeah.
and our lives matter. And actually, if we're not happy with the way we're being taken as a society, it's not only our right, but it's our responsibility to try and do something about that. And there is definitely, we've seen it throughout history when people en masse, take steps to push back against things that are happening in society. You do see things start to change. Whether, I think we've always seen that, maybe it's just diverged and they've always come back to this path that we're on at the moment. But, maybe it is a case of kicking it further down the line. But the
Mm,
the more we kind of push back, the more we gather together, the more we unite, the more we do. Just, it doesn't even have to be, these massive, huge actions that can make a difference. It can be, tiny little things.
mm,
You know, for example, the digital currency and all that
mm.
kind of stuff. You know, if people say, "Oh, no, I don't want to lose cash. I don't want to live in a purely digital world." And they say, "Well, do you still
Mm.
go to places that are card only?" Well, yeah, because I want to go there. Well, if every single person that believed in keeping cash actually, just didn't go and buy things from places that were card only and just sent a quick email it takes 2 minutes. Well, I was going to come and visit you. I was going to come and spend my money with you, but because you're card only, I won't be doing that until you allow me to use cash. If every single person who, actually acknowledged this push towards digital currency actually did that, I think we would very soon see corporations and companies going, okay,
There's a lot of
we may have to
talk,
rethink this.
isn't there? There's a lot of talk, a lot of moaning and complaining and whinging about the state of things, and we don't want this and we don't want that. But like you say, they're still going along with it, and that it's this apathy. I think, like you say, people have lost that sense of, well, they have, absolutely. It's not a question. That people on the whole have lost any sense of personal power and personal responsibility, because we're just in this, it is a nanny state already that we're in. It really is, when you look at it, just the absence of any genuine freedom within it, that you're constantly restrained by the rules, the laws, being part of this society that actually we've had no part. You're just in it, aren't you? You're born, oh, so this is normal, and that's it. You're carried down along the road, and that's your life. I was thinking earlier, it just popped into my head that, I mean, you could sort of liken it to life, or just what we're experiencing at the moment. It's like a firewalk. So you can either, get really centered and focused and know it's all in your mind. When you can do these firewalks, can't you? And they tell you how to do it, absolutely, and you're just getting burned every step of the way, because you're not taking that time to actually get back to, well, hang on, who am I really? What is my role in all of this? Who am I? I'm just, you just another cog in the wheel, and it's all very confusing. And then suddenly your life is done. It's like, what the hell was all that about? And it's over before you, just as you're starting to question things, you're 1 foot in the grave. So yeah, when you just bringing it back to being present, and actually realizing that you've got the power over your entire experience, it's down to you. Are you at the mercy of this external chaos, which is just getting crazier by the day, or are you able to actually hear yourself think as well? Half the time you're just sort of getting through the day, and you don't have a moment where you're really yourself, like embodied, where you're really conscious. So anything that we do, any of these actions, when they're just a reaction to the fire, panic, oh my god, we've got to do that, and then you're shattered, and then you're like, and nothing works, and it's because you're wanting to change everything overnight and see these big changes in things. Or you're coming from that up, immovable, you're calm, you're rooted in yourself, you know what you are, there's so much more to this whole thing. Then any actions you take, they're kind of divinely inspired, really, and there's no effort. It's joyful, even with these really grim things, like these awful topics that we're being confronted with, the things that are happening to our human family, our brothers and sisters. And you can still, when you're in that place, it's a totally different experience, and it uplifts, and people will be drawn to you because you've got that natural, I guess it's a kind of authority. It doesn't mean over anybody, but you're you're radiating that wisdom, I guess, and that's what changes. Like, we're always going on about energy and frequency and, you know, all of these things. It's like our
But it is the
mantra, but
basis of everything.
it is. So it's like, how's your firewalk going to be? Because it is a bloody firewalk, you know. This whole thing that we're witnessing, we're part of. It's like, how do we experience it? So it just popped into my head earlier when I was making my cup of tea. I had a moment of calm and clarity by the kettle.
Divine inspiration.
I'll remember that one.
Come in handy.
Yeah. Mm. But yeah, there was the other little story. I've got all little analogies, and so I don't know what you call them actually. Half, it's not a parable. This is just a little story that I told you earlier, didn't I?
Yeah,
About
I do like your little yeah, I like your little
little
parables, or
ones.
whatever you want to call them,
Musings.
analogies.
It's midweek musings, so
Musings.
therefore I'm going to muse a little. Yeah, it's a story of a man who he dies, and he arrives at the pearly gates, and there's the entrance to hell just next door, and the angels are, oh, come on into heaven, and he says, oh, what is it okay if I just pop into hell? Like, I just want to see what it's like. I'm just curious. No, yeah, okay, fair enough. Off we go. And so he enters like a really huge hall with a massive banqueting table filled with just every single delicacy you could imagine. It's amazing, beautiful, and you know, people seated all the way around, but looking absolutely miserable, suffering, hunched up, starving. And he realizes that every person has a pair of chopsticks, and they're like 10 feet long, so they can't feed themselves. And he says, that's horrifying, terrible, and leaves. Off he goes to heaven, and he's walks in, and it's exactly the same. It's like the same table, the same food, but all the people are laughing and radiant, smiling, happy. And he's a bit confused. He's like, well, what? I don't understand. And then he notices that the people are using the chopsticks to feed each other, and the angel says that's the difference between heaven and hell. Here we feed each other. And I thought, isn't that just
And I think
it,
it's very much relates to
where
life on
we're
Earth,
at?
and
Yeah, it's
it's
how
very
they've got
much,
us.
we've become such a separate,
Yeah,
self-serving, self-centered,
yes,
self-centered
yeah,
society. And I think even those of us that, you know, are slightly more conscious about it, we all still have those moments where, you know, we go into this mentality of just doing what we need to do. And you know, I don't think that's anything we should be ashamed or judgmental about, just something to notice. But you know, there definitely is, and we talk about it all the time, relating to community and relating to, you know, working together and being there for each other, and you know how much that foundation can improve our experience of life. It can, you know, just, yeah, helping each other out, working together can just make so much difference.
it
So much
yeah,
difference.
it's the fact that we've got billions of people on this earth, and you've got people fearing, and it actually happening, that starving to death is insane
Yeah,
to
it is.
me. There are millions and millions and millions of us, and we're living in fear of this tiny few who have done such a number on us that we honestly believe we're on our own and we have to fend for ourselves, and no one will help us. When you've got people living next door to you, you've got people, we're everywhere, and they've done such a job that they've made us feel like we're weak, we need to rely on them. When we've got everything, they're nothing. They are nothing. This is an illusion. It's all in the mind. And they know this. They have to keep us constantly in fear. Switch off the bloody news. Switch it all off. All of that, because it's just pushing this whole fake story that we should be terrified of each other, that Big Brother is the only thing that can help us. We've got everything we could ever need, and necessity is the mother of invention. So people will, you know, whatever's thrown at us, we can overcome. We're endlessly creative beings, which is something they're not, and they try and stifle it. And they bombard us constantly. They dumb us down and toxify us, but no matter what they do, we still rise up, we still come through every time. But just wake up, look around, stop being suspicious of everyone. If you need help, ask. And that's what we've been made, so insular. And so, well, you don't know your neighbour, oh God, and you wouldn't want to approach somebody that you didn't know. And how is it possible? How can you have people sitting on the street starving? And no,
I had this conversation on a post a few days ago. It was a post about you can't self-care your way out of being crushed by like tyrannical forces or government or whatever. And my comment was, well, no, but you can self-care your way into a place of empowerment, and being better able to not only cope and survive, but to fight back. People just saying we don't need more self-care. And I actually, I see their point. I do. You're not going to self-care your way into making everything better. But actually, I think when you do return to yourself, when you do take care of yourself and get into this place of acknowledging who you are, what's real, what you need, all this kind of stuff, you can then become more empowered. The way society is worked is to push us all down, to make us feel like it's our fault that we can't get what we need. It's our fault that we can't afford things, that we haven't worked hard enough, that we haven't done enough. It's on us. But actually the system is stacked against us. It is rigged for us to lose. We're also kind of indoctrinated that this idea that if you ask for help, that somehow makes you some sort of failure, that you're weak, that if you can't cope on your own, that's on you. And for me, I think the self-care I talk about is coming into a place where you acknowledge that actually you are more than your struggles, you are more than whatever is going on in your life, and that you're being conditioned to fail. So actually, rise up, empower yourself, be kind to yourself, look after yourself, and acknowledge that to get through this, we need each other, and that asking for help is nothing to be ashamed of. That going out and getting extra support doesn't mean you failed. No. It means the system is working exactly how it was designed to, and the only way out of it is for us to look after ourselves and look after each other. That is when we can rise above it and we can make a difference and make things better.
I think we were chatting a bit earlier, weren't we, about the sort of self-care kind of model, which has been, we're not talking about that kind of self-care, but no, having a bubble bath with a scented candle isn't going to change shit. It's very nice.
Yeah, and it is nice to treat yourself.
It's lovely. Don't get me wrong.
If it's relaxing, very good. But
it's got nothing to do with. We're talking genuine self-care. There's a fraction of people that are willing to go there. Because if you think it's some gently soft little thing where you're actually going into all your fear and getting to understand what you really are. We're not talking navel gazing. This is what it's, they invert, they take everything and make it this selfish thing. So actually, there's nothing inviting at all about really going through the fire and acknowledging you're staring the fear straight in the face, looking down the barrel of a gun, primal fears, all these things that are triggered. That's self-care. Because when you do that, when you walk through the fire, it's not just for yourself, it's for everyone, it's for everything. So the people, oh, how's that Reiki's not going to save it, blah blah blah, just these ignorant comments about things. It's because these concepts have been hijacked, and there is an element of that. It's like a band-aid, keep them quiet. Oh, look, you self-care and you do that, and it's all very focused on yourself, and it's all very namby-pamby. Don't get me wrong, do all the things that bring you joy, absolutely, do all the things that, but it's got to be conscious. If you're consciously raising your vibration, taking joy in the little things, that's a very different thing to this indulgent making myself feel better, and it's got nothing to do with anyone else or anything else. It's all me, 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 and as long as I feel, that's a totally different thing. And there's been a lot of inversion of all this kind of like self-work, inner work. Now you do the real stuff. You don't meet many people that are willing to do it, actually, because it's not for the faint-hearted at all. It is the true warriors that will confront. But we are all being confronted. I think this is when we talk about the Great Awakening, and it's not this cozy, lovely, oh, isn't it wonderful? We're all ascending. We're God Almighty. It's this absolute, can't get away from it. This is it now.
Roller coaster of a battle, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is a spiritual battle. So yeah, it's just about your consciousness, isn't it? Where your consciousness is at, and that's what we bring to things, and that's what will change your actual experience of things. Yeah, it's not easy. Like I said, it's a firewalk.
Well, they do say that nothing worth doing is ever going to be easy, so
It seems to be that way. It's like, this is the thing, none of this has to be painful. It really doesn't. But like, until you've kind of hit those walls and you've been confronted, it's not smooth sailing, is it? It's just all part
bloody difficult is what it is.
It is. But if you do that self-care, then yeah, keep bring it back to yourself, but in that non-selfish way. Everything sounds so contradictory, doesn't it? It's so difficult when we talk about all of this stuff. They're just paradoxes everywhere, and it's so difficult to articulate. But
hopefully people will get what we mean.
Hopefully.
It is hard, especially like given how tired we both are. Trying to sort of articulate sensically is a challenge.
A struggle.
Oh,
the struggle is real. The struggle is real. But yeah, so here we are. Here we are again. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I've got to say really this week. I think I've said enough.
Yeah, we've had a good chat.
Yeah. Well, I hope everyone's doing well out there. And Yeah, it's gone all cold and rainy and windy here.
Yeah, it's
It's
looking
I've got
like it's
my
going to
hot
chuck it
water
down with rain.
bottle. Yeah, it has.
I need
It's.
to,
I think
I need
it's
to
out. Yeah,
cycle
it
to the
is.
shops
It's still
later.
raining here. Yeah, it's all a bit.
It doesn't check.
I'm quite glad I don't have to go out today. There's no chance I'm going to the gym today. I can barely lift myself off the
Yeah, I'm
sofa
going to cycle
today.
to the supermarket.
Oh, good on you.
No rain.
Yeah, hopefully not. But
So
yeah,
we should probably sign off before we end up
I
just
know. It's not very
dilly dallying.
interesting, is it, for other people? I was just going to show you I think you'll like these. Look, I've got my little, because we're now well into autumn and approaching Halloween. I've got my mini pumpkins out. I do
Oh,
love
so cute.
autumn. I know, I love autumn. I love anything cozy, and autumn is just coziness for me,
Yeah, I like
and
it.
winter. But yeah, so I'm getting all snuggled down.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where the beanie hat, my stand in the park beanie hat, is going to be coming on a Sunday. I think it's
Yes,
getting nippy on a Sunday morning,
yeah,
isn't it?
definitely. They're nice head warmer ones, actually. Those beanies,
Yes,
they do the job.
mine did keep me very warm last
Yeah,
winter.
some of them the wind sort of goes through and it's no good. I've got a couple like that, but this one's pretty warm. Anyway, with that, enough
With
rambling
that, well,
now.
yes, it's all a lovely rest of the week, a great
Yeah.
weekend. Enjoy your stand.
Yes.
Yeah, if you've not been to one yet, why not? Like seriously, now is the time. Go meet
Get it
people, go make
going.
those physical connections, go
Absolutely.
build community. Um, yeah, you can find it
Yeah.
all on our website, standinthepark.org. Um, yeah, go make those connections. Trust me, they make a world of difference to everything. What do I do
Absolutely.
without my
Same. Same. Right. Lots
right?
of love
So
to you.
love to
Mwah.
everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.